industries, including Petronas, Sony, Ayala Group, Meralco, Aboitiz Power, Manila Hotel, and Brunei Shell, to name a few. And the reason why we have been doing quite a number of activities around cybersecurity is because we know from the World Economic Forum that cyber insecurity is in fact fourth among the top 10 risk in the Global Risk Perception Survey in 2023 to 2024. And of course, it's not just the money spent, it's also avoiding operational disruption, brand damage, loss of revenue, and more. And today we will have this session about gamifying learning of cyber hygiene and data privacy, which offers fresh perspectives on cybersecurity education by merging gamification with essential concepts. And we would like to remind everyone to feel free to turn on your video while you put on your mic on mute when listening. Participate throughout the session, and most importantly, be present throughout the session. And it's my great pleasure to introduce Mark. Mark is the creator of Data Heist, the first learning resource created to educate players on cyber hygiene and data protection. He's currently the director that oversees governance and business development of Orange Room Private Limited, a leading sports events company based in Singapore that owns several IPs for physical and virtual programs in Asia. He also leads a team of consultants, each proficient in their own fields, to provide advisory services and training, teaching the fundamentals of the Personal Data Protection Act, and also approved training organization in Singapore like the Singapore Chinese Chamber of Commerce, NTUC Learning Hub, and others. Without so much further ado, I'd like to give the floor to you.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. And yes, good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, depending where you are. I'll be very glad to share what I've created during COVID, a game, a tabletop game that features to inject fun and excitement to educate players about cybersecurity. And maybe just a quick background about myself. I am a data privacy practitioner. I teach and help companies and organizations to comply with the PDPA in Singapore as well as the GDPR. And of course, that helps me to apply it in the rest of other parts of other countries as well. So during the course of my work in consulting, I realized that a lot of people are not so aware of privacy laws, and even when they begin to be aware, it becomes very challenging to educate the entire organization on privacy. And in the process of applying privacy regulations and compliance in the organization, one of the things that cannot be ignored is cybersecurity, because today many of our organizations are already online. And when it comes to cybersecurity, we have to realize that the weakest link is the human. We can have all the technology in place in the company, but it is a human that is the weakest link. And when every single person is connected to the internet, there is a possible risk to the organization. And therefore, I begin to understand and feel that cybersecurity and cyber hygiene education becomes very important. So I created this game called Data Heist. Data Heist is a game that was created so that it could be easily played not just by people in management, but also the operation staff, and even to be played by kids. Because I feel that many of us are adults. As we are working, we are catching up with the privacy law, we are catching up with regulation, we are catching up with all the technology, and today we have AI coming into the picture. We are really catching up. And therefore, I'm proposing that cybersecurity, cyber hygiene be included in our education to the kids. And therefore, a game will be a great way to educate kids. And that's where this game was created. So without further ado, I'm going to just introduce the game itself, and I'm going to share how the game is played and some of the principles that are going to be shared during the game itself. So in this game itself, it's called Data Heist. The objective of the game is for players to steal as much data as possible. Hold on your judgment, and that is the reason why this game should be facilitated by an adult or an educator. It is really not meant to be taken off the shelf and played without the guidance of an educator or an adult. And therefore, at the end of the game, the objective of this game is really to have learners or players pick up 3 keywords, the 3 most common cyber risks out there that result in a lot of scams as well. So that's what this game was created for, to educate players with a bit of cheek, which means that players get to be the bad guy for a while in a simulated safe environment. All right, without further ado, I'm going to switch my camera to the tabletop so that you can see the games on my table. Okay, give me a second. It will shift. Is it shifting yet? Oh, I know why it's not clear.
I
Let me
think
change my background.
you have to remove
Yes,
your
okay.
background.
Yes.
Yeah. Now we can
Yeah,
see.
gotcha. All right, let me guess that's the right view. All right, so this is the tabletop where you see the game. Let me adjust a little bit. Okay, fantastic. So this is the board, this is the game itself. When you open it up, it is just an instruction booklet as well as two different covers of the cards. So over here, you have the Parasidium cards as well as Data Heist cards. Now let me just show you how the games look, the cards look like. So the game set comes with 6 dice. They are specially designed dice, as well as some other extra cards here. So these Parasidium cards, Parasidium, by the way, means to protect. So that's a very key role of us in people like us in the cybersecurity role. So these Parasidium cards are of 5 different colors: orange for disclosure, purple usage, protection, collection, and we have one more, and that is yellow, storage. So these are the playing cards for the game itself, and they are all numbered very much like poker cards. So this is called the Parasidium cards, our playing cards. Now, these Data Heist cards, these are what we call possible victims to cyber attack. So over here, you see you have the a card here, and this shows you the National Records Bureau. And this is the one that gives you, so this is the number of points you will score if you are going to win this card. So the objective of the game is to win as many of these cards as possible. And these are all real life possible victims. For instance, the college student can be hacked. An IT manager can be hacked. His or her data can be stolen. The busy employee can lose their data as well. So these are all possible victims to cyber attack. And the objective of the game is to have players beat these guys here. So in the game itself, how do we set up the game? We set up 5 possible victims on the what we call the marketplace. So over here right now, we have 5 possible victims. So in the game itself, players would have only 2 simple choice of when it comes to their turn, they can only do 2 things. Players, I will either pick a new card from the deck, or they play an attack. So how do players attack? So on their playing hand, they have 5 playing cards. Just like when you're playing poker, you have 5 cards to play. If your hand is not good enough, then you just pick another card. So when it comes to your turn, all you need to do is either attack or pick a new card. So that's fairly simple. So let me simulate 3 players here. One player here, another player here, and another player here. So imagine these were 3 different players, all right? Now, how do we perform an attack? Let me share with you the different attacks. So in my I found out that according to many reports, the 3 most common cyber attacks are these 3: DDoS, phishing, and social engineering. So by the end of the game, players will definitely have an opportunity to learn these 3 vocabulary and know what these are. And, most people don't even know what these things are, isn't it? And if they don't even know what the cyber risks are, how can they protect themselves? And that's the reason why these 3 phrases are going to be repeated over and over during the game. So when it comes to the turn of a player says, I want to perform a DDoS attack. How do I perform a DDoS attack? if my hand here has cards that are in running order, let's say my hand here has 8, 9, 10, 11. If I have collected these cards, 1, 2, 3, 4 cards in running order, like poker or straight, I will have 4 dice. I can roll 4 dice. And the total score of my 4 dice must be greater than the victim that I want to choose. So if it comes to my turn, I will say, I want to do a DDoS attack. I play my 4 cards. I want to do a DDoS attack on the real estate salesperson. So I must score more than 7 to win the card. So I take the 4 dice, I roll. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. Yes, I have won. I got a score of 7, which is greater than his life points. So I have won this card and I've scored 2 points. That's how the game will work. So this is DDoS, straights. If you have the same number in your hand, like this, with the same number, that is called a phishing attack. Phishing attack. So for instance, if I'm going to attack the same victim, the real estate person, I play 3 cards, which means I only have 3 dice. So the number of cards we play will correspond to the number of dice we use. So I will roll a dice and say, okay, I must score more than 5. And once again, it's 5. 5 will mean that just nice. I have managed to successfully attack the real estate salesperson and I won this card and I score 2 points. If I were to choose to attack the telecom service provider and I roll 5, just like before, I would have lost my cards. Means I would have lost my playing cards and I got to collect more resources. It's just like hackers in real life. Hackers will collect resources and then they will choose their victim and they'll attack the victim. So the last attack that we have in our hand here, example in this case, let's say the financial advisor, the third attack is called social engineering. And if you know, social engineering is one of the most challenging problems we have today because they come in all shape and sizes, and these social engineers are getting better and better. So in social engineering attack, we use the same color. If the players collect cards the same color, they get to perform a social engineering attack. And in this case, 5 cards means I have 5 dice. With 5 dice, wow, I've got a lot of power, right? So 5 dice, I can choose to attack the telecom service provider, which typically has a lot more data, and therefore it has 6 points. So I can try for social engineering and score more than 13 points. So 5 dice. Oh no, I haven't got enough points. So which means that these cards are burnt and I've wasted my resources in trying to attack. So hackers are like that. They will attempt they will attempt to attack the victims, and they will only stop when they got something out of them. So let me simulate a play. So let's say this is the playing table now. We have 5 victims out there, what I call suckers, waiting to be attacked by all these hackers. And when it comes to player 1, so let's call this player 1. Oh, let me player 1, player 2, player 3. So player 1 has 5 cards on the hand, and player 1 can't do anything because there's no straights, no same number, or no same color. So because the minimum number of cards to play is 3 cards. So all player 1 needs to do is to simply pick another card from the deck, and the turn goes to this second player. Let's call this player 1, player 2, and player 3. So when it comes to player 2, oh, look at the hand. I don't have enough cards either. I just simply take a card. So this helps the game to go very, very fast. So there's not too much waiting. So very suitable for children. They don't have to wait too long. Now come to player 3. Player 3 has 3 cards that are green. So player 3 can actually perform what we call a social engineering attack. Same color. So I say, okay, I want to perform a social engineering attack on the real estate salesperson. I play 3 cards, so I get to roll 3 dice. So players have to choose their victim first, and that's how hackers work. Hackers will choose their victim and attempt an attack on them. So I got to roll more than 5 for this to win this. Let's see what I get. Oh, great, 8 points, which means I have won this card. So 2 points go to player 3. And after the card is taken, a new victim appears in the marketplace. there are always victims out there in the marketplace, isn't it? There's always a sucker that's going to lose their data to a hacker. So come back to player one. Player one has still not enough power, so take more cards. Aha! Now you see a Joker card, but we'll put it to the side first. We'll talk about it later. So still no new cards, but you can keep collecting until you have 9 cards. Because by the time you have 9 cards, you should be able to attack. Same for player two. Player two has not enough cards to play and attack, so just take a new card. For player three, not enough cards for sure. Take a new card. So you see the game moves on very, very quickly. Same, collect, collect, collect. And now it goes back to player one. Now player one has a bit of power. I can take 3 cards the same color, and once again, player one chooses to perform a social engineering attack on the financial advisor, for instance. So with 3 cards, I get to roll 3 dice. And in this situation, I need to score more than 9. So I roll a dice. Oh no, that's where the attack has failed. The financial advisor has been educated enough not to click on some phishing link, and therefore he or she survives the attack. Player one does not win any points, unlike player three. So player two will come, still no power, take more cards. So the game will go on like that until the deck ends. So this game can be completed within 10 to 15 minutes. And as the facilitator or educator, we can choose to extend the game or add in additional cards. So far, so good, Marilyn? Is it pretty clear? So this game is so simple that even kids can play. And you see the colors are designed brightly and simply so that kids can also can relate very easily. So all they need to have, the only skills players need to have is numeracy skills. In fact, they need to know how to count 1 to 13 and need to know the colors. That's all they need to know. So that's how the game works, and that's level 1. So the game is also designed such that such a players will play more than once. And the way we make it more interesting is we add in what you saw earlier, the Joker cards. The Joker cards are designed to be added into the deck so that players will find it easier to attack later. Because it's true that hackers get better and better, and they will find ways and means to hack these victims and score more points, or in this case, more data. Any questions so far?
Any questions from Mark or Yochang?
No questions. Let's just add in.
No
Add in.
questions. But I have a question.
Yeah, shoot.
I'm just curious to know because the purpose of these cards is actually to educate them. And you've mentioned that there are specific points, there are specific cards that they have to get, right? And
Yep.
then but then you use the dice to get specific numbers, right? So
Yep.
how do you actually like brief or educate the participants more in terms of how do they win? Because somehow it's like based on luck, right? Because it depends on whatever comes out on the dice, right? uh
Yes.
Versus to the number of the number that comes in the dice for them to win. So but is there a way to turn it around in such a way, like, okay, so if we have this and that strategies, then we are able to actually like address social engineering, phishing, or whatnot, right?
That is the fourth version of this game. So
Ah,
this the fourth because this game, as I mentioned, is meant to be played more than once. So in the first version of the game, we played this version where we do not have jokers or do not have additional cards. So that's the first version where we get the gameplay working. So let me share the
mm,
second and third and fourth, and then you see where the protection part comes in. But
oh,
the main education part of the game is really led by the facilitator of the game, where the
mm-hmm,
educator has to explain what is DDoS, phishing, and social engineering. Because in the design of the game, when we add in the Joker cards in the game itself, And the Joker cards are like this. They come in like, like you play Uno, wild cards. They can be used as any color or any number. And these cards here are simply used as any color for these to represent the corresponding color. So when the Joker cards are added into the game, obviously attacks will be more frequent. Wouldn't you think so? And we have played this game many times, and we discovered that the most common attack that happens is social engineering. Because it's designed such that social engineering will be the most common attack. And then that's where the facilitators will be asking a question. Hey class, hey players, which attack have you observed happening most often? Very often, the most common answer is social engineering. And then that's where we begin to create curiosity on what is social engineering. And there we have a learning and coaching moment, which is even more important than just a lecture. So the game is designed to create curiosity so that the educator or the facilitator can educate the learners and they be ready to receive the information. And this works especially well for children or younger audiences, isn't it? Okay, so that's
but in terms of like using it like in an organization, so first and foremost, the facilitator has to be knowledgeable on cybersecurity and
absolutely. Absolutely.
and okay, and the data privacy and all those stuff before they even like facilitate. And how many players do you normally have for this game?
This game is designed for up to 6 players.
6 players.
So usually when I do a class, I have maybe one table, one set for 5 to 6 players, and then I got multiple sets in the room led by one key facilitator and maybe one assistant to go around the tables.
Okay, and which again the main objective is for them to learn like about cybersecurity and cyber hygiene and
because the whole idea is to highlight these keywords here. What is DDoS? What's phishing? What's social engineering? Rather than go through a lecture where I just download it to you, I want you to get a bit of curiosity. So you want to ask questions because in the game itself, the players will be saying, I want to perform a DDoS attack on the financial advisor. I want to perform a phishing attack on the friendly retiree. When participants are asked to say these words, they literally articulate and say these words out aloud. And that's where it creates the opportunity to learn. Remember, I was a teacher in school before, so this is like a bit applying what I learned in learning pedagogy, where it kind of forces learning and facilitates learning in a more fun and easy way. So the second version of the game is the one where I add jokers inside, so that we want to tweak the gameplay such that social engineering is coming up more often. And one little design in the dice that a lot of people ask me, hey Mark, is the dice a fair dice? It is not a fair dice. Look carefully at the dice. There are 2 1s.
Yeah.
And 2 2s. Because this is meant to make the game a bit more real. Because if it's a regular 1 to 6 die, it'll be unfair. And because of this configuration, it becomes very hard to win a card like this. And therefore, we need a bit of more of reinforcements. And this is where these cards come in. These are additional cards that we add in the game. You don't see them earlier. These are red back cards, and these cards are the content that makes this game a bit unethical when some people say, because these cards here are real threat actors in the marketplace that will really cause problems to an organization. Some of you who are cybersecurity people would know this. Malware, expert copywriter, black hat. Now, why are these cards so important to the game? These cards are what we call special ability cards that raise the ability of their attacker. So players can acquire the services of these people here to improve their attack. For example, if I get to hire a persuasive telemarketer, I raise my social engineering attack by 2 points permanently, which means whatever die roll I have, I will add 2 to a die roll. And this is really happening in real life. If I can speak very well over the phone, I can be a very good social engineer. If I've got malware, I could do a lot of damage to any company. And therefore, in this one, it says add 2 points to any total die roll. And we have here a copywriter. Expert copywriter, you can add 2 points to your phishing attack score. So these are threat actors, and when we play these cards, we are allowing the facilitator to talk about what are threat actors. So rather than tell you what threat actors are, I want you to ask me what are these. And these are the cards that are very important in our cybersecurity education. And that's where, again, the facilitator has the responsibility of educating the young minds, young kids, that, these are illegal and are wrong. That's why, again, I want to emphasize that the game must be facilitated by a trained adult. So this is the third version of the game. And because when you add these cards in, you will find the attacks being more powerful, and these companies like these can be attacked and fall. So that's the third version of the game. And then there's a fourth version of the game where you were asking me, how do I then educate people about cybersecurity? So among these cards you see here, there's one set of cards, the blue cards. The blue cards are really the protection cards. And these the cards with additional icons at the side. And for those of us in cybersecurity, we know that there are tools like these to prevent or reduce attacks. And this is where the words on these cards make sense. A lot of people will not have, when they're playing the cards this way, and many people will avoid or they won't read the words. But once you start looking at these words on the protection cards, these are all cybersecurity tools. Let me pick up the blue cards again. So some of you will realize that all these tools are part of your TAP, your technical, administrative, and physical protection. Come, let me do a quiz. Is this a technical, physical, or administrative protection? Antivirus is obviously technical. CCTV, is it technical, administrative, or physical? Physical. A privacy champion in the company, is it a technical, administrative, or physical? Privacy champions are administrative. So these are all your cybersecurity prevention tools. And these can be, if a player has these cards in their hand, they can play a card to reduce 1 dice from the attacker. So players will sacrifice their power. Hackers also fight among each other, right? It's true. Real life hackers want to keep data for themselves. So hackers can sacrifice their protection card to another while another player is attacking and say, okay, I'm going to sacrifice my protection card to reduce your phishing or social engineering attack. And these will correspond to different protection. So different type of protection will offer different protection to different cyber attacks. So that's where, again, the facilitator can use this as a lesson to educate a higher level players on how to prevent cyber attacks. So this game was designed so that the facilitator can play the game over and over again, so you can stack learning. Because if you want to download everything on one time, it's gonna be tough sometimes. So you can do it when companies do cybersecurity trainings as part of their yearly or bi-yearly program. They can add in this for a little bit of fun. Hey, remember the game you played last year? Now we're adding a little bit more into the game itself, and that's where the game is going to be very interesting. So that's why this game is designed so that the first version is played by even elementary school, the primary school students from even 7, 8 years old, 10 years old. We've tried this game with 8-year-old kids and they enjoyed it. Even if they don't really understand all these things about cybersecurity, the game is fun enough for them to play, and at least they remember, again, the learning objective. they remember the three keywords here: DDoS, phishing, and social engineering. And because these are all potential victims, I'm going to educate the young that these are all possible victims of cyber attack. So please be careful. Your Lolo is also a victim. Your mommy, who's a real estate salesperson, may be also a victim. So please remember to be vigilant at all times. So this is Data Heist, designed for multiple play, designed to let players learn about cyber risks and, of course, to eventually learn how to prevent them with the words here. So does that answer your question, Marilyn?
Yes, thank you.
So these cards will also have one more function that I would like to share for those of you who are privacy practitioners. I myself, I'm a privacy practitioner, and there's one thing that I do a lot in my work, and some of you who are in the info security line would appreciate this very much. How many of you have challenges explaining the term data inventory to your clients? First of all, what is data inventory, isn't it? So for those of us in cybersecurity, a data inventory is extremely important because in privacy, particularly privacy, whatever law that we are, whatever regulation we are under, whether it's the GDPR, the PDPA, the DPA in Philippines, the basic principle of privacy is this: whatever personal data or personal information that we collect, use, disclose, and store needs to be protected. So that's where this wildcard serves as a big reminder for all privacy practitioners. Because to the InfoSec, yeah, I collect everything, I use, disclose, store, protect. But for privacy, we are very particular about these four words. And everyone in the IAPP knows, the International Association of Privacy Practitioners, whatever data we collect, use, and disclose and store must be protected. And these cards here, the Paris CDM cards that I showed you earlier, the cards that were used for playing in the Data Heist game, these cards become an excellent tool for data inventory mapping. And this is where I actually use these cards in my consulting work with my clients to explain to them what is data inventory. So this is where I will sort these cards out into different colors because that's where the cards make sense. Give me a minute as I get these things done. There are 13 of each cards, very much like a poker deck. And you're wondering why they are so blank cards. You will see them in a while. So now, let's now arrange them. Whatever data that we collect, collection of data is here. Then I ask my clients, what kind of data do you collect? Or where do you collect your data? So now the words make sense. Earlier, as you're playing, the words don't make sense. Do we collect watch record of staff? Do we collect IP addresses? Did we collect a photocopy of national ID? Wow, you collect so much data. So all these are data that the company or organization collects, and this gives awareness. So I literally make my clients lay them on the table. Oh, we collect this, we collect this, we collect this, we collect all this information. Wow, we collect so much information. Gosh. Okay, great. Okay, now tell me, after you collect them, where do you store them? Oh, okay, that's where the storage card comes in. Do any of you use this? CD-ROMs and DVDs? I hope not. This is Stone Age, but still, some companies still do it, yeah? Personal computer, data center. So these are the places where we keep our data. Yes, we keep them here. Oh no, we keep them here. Yes, we keep them in the cell phone. Yes, we put them in the cloud. We put them in the folder. Oh yes, yes, yes. Oh, you also keep them in under the bed. Okay, under the bed is not here. So then we give them the blank card and then they can write under the bed and put it there. So this gives me a very good view again of how they store their data. And the next question as a privacy practitioner is, how do you use this data? Like what Marilyn said earlier, sending reminders. The data is being used for multiple purposes. So again, we list them out here. Great. Finally, how are we disclosing the personal data? Okay, or do we disclose it to someone else? Do we put it on social media? Do we put it on? Do we pass it to a parent company? Do we give it to a third party contractor? Do we put it mention on the radio or podcast? Do we do marketing collaterals? Do we sell the data to a marketing company? Oh my goodness, that happens too, right? It is legal. It's not illegal to sell data if there's consent. So with this little layout here, my next biggest question to my clients will be, have you applied protection to your data? Remember the protection cards? Have you got a padlock if you put them in document folders? Okay, maybe. Oh, you got a cloud storage. Have you got a cloud security? Oh no, you don't have one? Okay, I think we need to buy this. And then that's where the IT will be able to show the boss, we need to buy this. So these protection cards become very relevant. And as I mentioned, for those of you who are cybersecurity practitioners, you will recognize this: technical, administrative, and physical security. We have enough protection for all the data that we collect, use, disclose, and share? Collect, use, and disclose, and store. So this is where data heist has an added value to a practitioner, where these cards become a very useful tool to teach data inventory. So these cards are not only my learning tool to educate rank and file and everybody else for cyber hygiene. I also use this as a tool in consulting, especially in this simple topic and very important topic called data inventory, especially for the SMEs who may not be aware of what a data inventory is all about. So with that, I want to say that the data heist game is not just a game. In fact, the truth of the matter was, data heist was created first as a tool for me to educate my clients on what is data inventory. It took me so long to educate them about the importance of data inventory. And then finally I did this and said, hey, maybe a game can spawn out of this. And lo and behold, data heist was born. So this is what data heist is all about, and I really wish to look for practitioners in cybersecurity and educators in privacy as well to embrace this tool, and even educators as well to also embrace it and use it for education of the young, especially, so that when they go out to the working world, like all of us now, they do not struggle so hard, because the urgency of cyber hygiene is really there. And not just the young, the old as well. All our baby boomers are not native to the mobile phone. They're not native to the internet. And how many scams have happened? And worse, the middle age group, the millennials who are starting to work now. How many of them have been taught cybersecurity or cyber hygiene? Probably none. They only say here and there, and now the banks are doing the part. But I know we should go all the way down to the bottom. So that's where my call to practitioners and educators, maybe not so much parents, because the kids want to learn from you. Let's be honest here. So more educators and practitioners to look into using this as a tool. So Marilyn, back to you.
Thank you so much for educating us around cybersecurity. I mean, for me, I'm not a cybersecurity expert or a data privacy professional, but I mean, I'm all about the education, and definitely, like, in the summit that we organize, we've talked so many times about the importance of awareness and education, because that's where everything starts at the end of the day, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Mark, do you have the other Mark? Mark, do you have any question? Because we have Mark here. Any questions, clarifications, comments, or anything? Are you there?
Otherwise, we just keep this as a recording and you can share as to our resource to all our friends and friends out there. So for those who want to read more about data heist, you can go to dataheist.org. So it's there, and feel free to connect. Oh yeah, I can re-animate the audio actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can share on the chat your website, but either way as well for those who are actually who have attended the summit, you have an exhibit booth there. Hopefully you actually set it up and put your website. But um in our what's this in our materials website, they can actually find the links as well, the description, the links. For them to reach out to you as well, whether it's on LinkedIn or the Data Heist website itself. So I guess we don't have any more questions, and I really appreciate you taking time to briefing us on how does the card work, how you can gamify it. And yeah, looking forward to collaborating with you soon again.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So
Thank you
Mark,
so much, Mark.
You can, yep, okay, good day. And Mark, you can just write to me. You can just find me on LinkedIn, Mark Barnabas. You will find me, and we can chat more. So thank you, Marilyn, for organizing this, and hope to see you very soon.
Yes. So this is actually quite relevant to what the other Mark, and I has been actually talking about as well, educating more young people, especially those who are stepping to the or transitioning from students to career. So this is going to be like something feasible for that. So we'll just talk about it. I'm still scheduling an appointment with Mark for both research as well as finding out on how we can move forward to educating more people, especially young generations, in terms of cyber hygiene and cybersecurity data protection. So thank you so much, Mark, for this session. Very insightful and interesting at the same time.
Yes, thank you so much for organizing. Have a good day. See you again,
Have a
Mark.
good day. See
See you again,
you.
Marilyn.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.